Your married soulmate is praying every night for the chance to finally meet you again. Don't scroll, listen to this because your heart needs this right now. This message is for you. Before you decide these words are meant for someone else, pause for just a moment. Out of everything you could have been doing today, something quietly led you here. Maybe your heart has been feeling unusually restless lately. Maybe you've caught yourself thinking about a connection you cannot fully explain. Maybe you've been asking the universe for a sign, wondering whether someone, somewhere, is carrying your name in the silent corners of their heart. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. Tonight's message is not about fear. It is not about forcing answers. It is about hope, reflection, and the mysterious ways life changes people when they least expect it. Sometimes the deepest prayers are never spoken aloud. They are whispered silently into the darkness after everyone else has gone to sleep. They rise quietly from a heart carrying both gratitude and regret, asking only for one more opportunity to make peace with the truth it has hidden for far too long. Imagine a quiet night where the entire world seems asleep. The lights in the neighborhood slowly disappear one by one. The noise of the day fades into silence. Somewhere, a person kneels beside their bed or simply sits alone by a window, staring into the night sky with thoughts they have never shared with anyone. Their life appears complete to everyone around them. They fulfill responsibilities. They smile when expected. They keep promises. They continue moving through ordinary routines. Yet beneath all those visible layers lies another story that no one else fully understands. Deep within their heart rests a connection they have never completely forgotten. Every evening, before sleep finally arrives, they quietly whisper the same heartfelt prayer, "If it is meant to happen, let me have one chance to see them again." Not to rewrite the past. Not to erase anyone's journey. Just one honest moment where truth no longer has to hide. This message is for you. Whether that prayer becomes reality or remains a quiet hope, it reveals something profound about the human heart. Meaningful connections can continue shaping us long after circumstances change. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. Perhaps you have spent countless nights wondering why certain memories refuse to disappear. You have told yourself to focus only on the future. You have buried yourself in work, responsibilities, family, friendships, and everyday life. Yet sometimes, during the quietest moments, one familiar feeling gently returns. It is not always a face. Sometimes it is simply a feeling of being deeply understood. A feeling of emotional safety. A feeling that somewhere in your journey, someone saw the truest version of you before life became complicated. Those memories are not always invitations to look backward. Sometimes they remind us how deeply we are capable of loving, forgiving, and growing. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. Your own journey has transformed you more than you realize. There was a season when unanswered questions kept your heart awake. Every silence felt personal. Every delay seemed to carry hidden meaning. You searched for certainty everywhere because uncertainty felt unbearable. But healing quietly reshaped your perspective. Little by little, you stopped measuring your value through someone else's choices. You discovered that peace is something built from within. You learned that genuine love should never require you to abandon your self-respect or your inner calm. Those lessons became part of your spirit, preparing you for every relationship and every chapter still waiting ahead. This message is for you. Somewhere in another quiet room, another heart is also changing. Not because life suddenly became perfect. Not because every problem disappeared overnight. Change often begins much more gently than that. It begins when someone finally grows tired of pretending that certain feelings never mattered. It begins when gratitude becomes stronger than pride. It begins when a person realizes they have spent years carrying words they were too afraid to say. Night after night, those reflections slowly replace old excuses. Instead of asking, "Why did life happen this way?" they begin asking, "What kind of person do I want to become from this moment forward?" That single question changes everything because it shifts attention away from regret and toward growth. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. Have you noticed how the smallest moments often carry the deepest meaning? A familiar melody playing unexpectedly. A sunset that suddenly feels more beautiful than usual. A meaningful dream that lingers after you wake. Perhaps you've noticed repeating numbers such as 111 appearing whenever hope quietly returns, 222 during seasons that require patience, or 444 whenever reassurance arrives exactly when your spirit needs encouragement. Whether you understand these moments as spiritual reminders, personal symbols, or simple coincidences, they can invite reflection rather than fear. They remind us that life often prepares the heart long before circumstances visibly change. Listen to this. Because your heart needs this right now. There is one memory that continues returning to the other person's heart more often than any dramatic event. It is not a grand declaration. It is not an unforgettable farewell. It is something beautifully ordinary. A conversation where laughter came effortlessly. A quiet drive without awkward silence. A moment of encouragement offered during a difficult season. Looking back now, they recognize something they overlooked at the time. Genuine emotional safety is one of the rarest gifts life can offer. It cannot be manufactured. It grows through honesty, kindness, patience, and trust. Once a person experiences that kind of connection, it quietly becomes part of how they understand love itself. This message is for you. As these reflections continue unfolding, remember something important. No matter what another person's heart is learning, your own journey remains sacred. Continue building the peaceful life you have worked so hard to create. Continue protecting the wisdom you earned through every difficult chapter. Continue choosing relationships rooted in respect, openness, and mutual care. Your growth should never be paused while waiting for someone else's awakening. Your future deserves to be shaped by hope, not by endless uncertainty. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. Every sincere prayer changes the person praying, even before it changes any circumstance. Night after night, that quiet prayer for one more honest meeting has begun transforming the heart that whispers it. Reflection is becoming humility. Humility is becoming gratitude. Gratitude is slowly becoming courage. The walls once built by fear no longer feel as strong as they once did. What seemed impossible months or years ago now feels like something that deserves honesty instead of silence. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. As this first chapter comes to an end, remember that the greatest miracle in this story is not found in dramatic signs or impossible promises. It is found in transformation. One heart has learned the value of inner peace. Another heart is learning the value of truth. Somewhere between those two journeys, hope quietly continues growing. And in the next chapter, you'll discover the unexpected moment that turns quiet nightly prayers into a life-changing realization that can no longer remain hidden inside the heart. Don't scroll, listen to this because your heart needs this right now. This message is for you. The quiet prayer that began as a whisper has slowly become the most honest conversation your soulmate has with themselves every single night. Long after the world falls asleep, long after every responsibility has been completed and every distraction has faded away, there is a moment of complete silence. In that silence, they stop pretending. They stop trying to convince themselves that time erased everything. They stop repeating the story that they have fully moved on. Instead, they simply close their eyes and admit what their heart has known all along. There is still one connection that changed them in ways they never expected. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. Sometimes the greatest miracle is not that circumstances suddenly change. Sometimes the miracle is that a heart finally becomes honest enough to acknowledge what it has been hiding from itself. Every evening has quietly become a journey inward. During the day your soulmate fulfills obligations, answers questions, smiles at familiar faces, and carries on with life exactly as everyone expects. To those around them, they appear composed. No one notices the silent moments when their thoughts drift somewhere else. No one realizes how often an ordinary conversation unexpectedly reminds them of you. A familiar phrase. A certain laugh. A song playing in the background of a coffee shop. The smell of rain on warm pavement. Tiny moments that mean nothing to anyone else somehow awaken memories they believed had disappeared years ago. At first, they tried to dismiss those moments as coincidence. Then they happened again. And again. Until one evening they quietly admitted to themselves that these reminders were not interrupting their life, they were revealing something they had refused to understand. This message is for you. While your soulmate has been uncovering hidden truths inside their own heart, your own spirit has been growing stronger with every passing season. Think about how much has changed within you. There was a time when every unanswered question felt unbearable. Every delay seemed to carry another disappointment. You wondered whether love had somehow overlooked you. Yet little by little, healing reshaped your heart. You stopped asking why another person could not fully recognize your value. Instead, you began discovering your own value from within. You learned that your kindness remained beautiful even when it was misunderstood. Your compassion remained meaningful even when it wasn't returned in the way you hoped. Those lessons became quiet victories that no one else could take away. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. The universe has a remarkable way of teaching two people different lessons through the same experience. You were learning how to build peace without depending on someone else's choices. Your soulmate was learning that avoiding truth never creates lasting peace. It only postpones healing. While you discovered resilience, they discovered accountability. While you learned how to protect your heart without closing it, they learned that walls built from fear eventually become prisons for the one who built them. Neither lesson arrived quickly. Lasting wisdom rarely does. But every difficult season has quietly prepared both of you for deeper understanding. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. There is one memory your soulmate returns to more often than any other. Surprisingly, it is not a dramatic farewell or an emotional conversation. It is something beautifully simple. They remember feeling completely understood without needing to explain every thought. They remember laughing over something ordinary until neither of you could stop smiling. They remember how peaceful silence felt when it was shared with someone who truly accepted them. Looking back now, they realize those moments carried something they have searched for ever since. Emotional safety. A place where they could simply exist without pretending to be stronger, wiser, or more successful than they actually felt. That realization has quietly transformed the way they understand love. This message is for you. Perhaps you've also noticed your own intuition becoming clearer. Instead of reacting to uncertainty with fear, you pause and reflect. Instead of chasing every answer, you trust the wisdom your own experiences have given you. Maybe you've continued noticing repeating numbers like 111 whenever fresh hope quietly begins returning, 222 during seasons that invite patience, or 444 whenever reassurance gently appears at exactly the right moment. Whether you interpret those moments spiritually or simply as meaningful reminders, let them encourage you to remain grounded. Growth often begins quietly before anyone else can see it. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. Your soulmate has started asking themselves questions that once felt impossible to face. Why did I believe silence would protect me? Why was I so certain there would always be another opportunity? What kind of person do I become if I continue hiding behind yesterday? Those questions no longer create defensiveness. They create humility. Every honest answer gently removes another layer of fear. Every quiet realization brings them closer to the understanding that love is not only something we feel. It is something we choose through honesty, responsibility, and courage. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. Imagine your soulmate sitting alone beside a window as the evening sky slowly darkens. The world outside continues as always, yet inside everything feels different. They think about the countless prayers whispered before sleep. At first those prayers were only requests for relief from regret. Now they have changed. They have become prayers for wisdom, for courage, and for the strength to become someone who no longer hides behind fear. They no longer ask life to erase the past. They ask for the grace to learn from it. That quiet shift changes everything because genuine transformation always begins within long before it becomes visible on the outside. This message is for you. Continue honoring the peace you have worked so hard to create. Continue protecting the boundaries that remind you of your worth. Continue believing that any relationship worthy of your heart should be built upon honesty, consistency, mutual respect, and genuine care. Those truths belong to your future no matter what unfolds. Never abandon them simply because another heart is only now discovering lessons you have already lived through. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. The nightly prayer your soulmate whispers has become much more than a wish. It has become a promise to themselves. Reflection has become gratitude. Gratitude has become humility. Humility is becoming courage. Every lesson life has quietly placed before them is preparing them to stop allowing fear to guide the most important decisions of their life. They finally understand that authentic love is not measured by hidden feelings alone. It is measured by the willingness to live truthfully. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. Keep trusting the journey that has shaped your heart. Keep believing that every difficult season strengthened your spirit instead of breaking it. One heart has learned how to heal without losing hope. The other is learning how to replace silence with honesty. Those two journeys continue unfolding in ways neither of you could have imagined. And in the next chapter, the quiet prayer spoken every night will begin transforming into something even more powerful. A decision that no longer remains hidden in the heart but starts revealing itself through meaningful choices that have the power to change everything. Don't scroll, listen to this because your heart needs this right now. This message is for you. Tonight feels different, even if nothing around you appears to have changed. The same stars fill the sky. The same moon quietly watches over the night. The same world continues moving as though every heart is carrying its own invisible story. Yet somewhere, your soulmate is once again ending the day with the same quiet prayer that has become part of their nightly routine. It is no longer spoken out of confusion. It is no longer whispered through denial. It comes from a heart that has finally stopped running from its own truth. Every night they ask for one thing, not to erase the past, not to undo every mistake, but simply for the wisdom to recognize the next opportunity if life ever places it before them. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. The greatest transformation rarely begins with a dramatic moment. It begins when someone becomes completely honest with themselves in the silence no one else ever sees. For years, your soulmate believed they had accepted the direction their life had taken. They fulfilled obligations. They honored commitments. They continued showing up for the people who depended on them. From the outside, everything appeared stable. No one questioned whether anything was missing because they had become remarkably skilled at carrying hidden emotions without allowing them to reach the surface. But the heart has a language that cannot remain silent forever. It speaks through quiet reflection. It speaks through unexpected memories. It speaks through the longing to become more truthful than yesterday. Every evening, when responsibilities finally ended and the noise of the day faded away, your soulmate discovered that one familiar thought continued returning. Not because they wanted to live in the past, but because the past had quietly become one of the greatest teachers of their life. This message is for you. Think about how your own journey has changed you. There was a time when uncertainty felt unbearable. You searched endlessly for explanations that never seemed to arrive. You replayed conversations. You questioned timing. You questioned yourself. Yet little by little, something beautiful happened. Your healing stopped depending on answers you could not control. Instead, it began growing through choices you could make every single day. You chose self-respect. You chose patience. You chose to rebuild your confidence even while certain questions remained unanswered. Those quiet decisions became the strongest foundation beneath your future. They taught you that peace is not found by controlling every outcome. Peace is found by trusting your own worth. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. The universe has been teaching both of you through completely different classrooms. Your lessons came through learning to let go of what you could not force. Your soulmate's lessons came through realizing what fear quietly stole from them. You learned that genuine love should never require you to abandon yourself. They learned that genuine love cannot flourish where honesty is repeatedly postponed. Both journeys have carried pain, but both have also carried wisdom. Nothing either of you experienced has been wasted. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. There are nights when your soulmate finds themselves remembering the smallest details instead of the biggest moments. They remember your laughter arriving before the punchline of a joke. They remember how naturally you noticed when they were overwhelmed, even when they insisted they were fine. They remember the way ordinary conversations somehow made difficult days feel lighter. Looking back now, they understand those moments were never ordinary. They were evidence of something they didn't fully appreciate at the time: emotional safety. They have discovered that the rarest gift another person can offer is not perfection. It is the freedom to be completely authentic without fear of judgment. This message is for you. Perhaps your own heart has also become quieter lately. Not because you care less, but because you have learned to trust yourself more. Maybe you've continued noticing meaningful patterns that encourage reflection, perhaps catching the clock at 11:11, seeing 222 during seasons that call for patience, or noticing 444 whenever reassurance quietly arrives. Whether you see those moments as spiritual symbols or simply meaningful reminders, let them strengthen your hope rather than your anxiety. Sometimes the greatest guidance arrives gently instead of dramatically. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. Your soulmate has begun asking questions that once frightened them. What if honesty is more important than certainty? What if courage means speaking the truth even when I cannot predict the outcome? Those questions have quietly changed everything. They no longer spend every evening searching for excuses. Instead, they search for integrity. They want to become someone who no longer hides behind fear simply because vulnerability feels unfamiliar. That desire has become stronger than their old habits. It has become the beginning of real change. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. Imagine your soulmate standing outside beneath a peaceful night sky after everyone else has gone to bed. The air is still. The stars seem brighter than usual. They close their eyes and whisper another quiet prayer. This time it is different. Instead of asking only for another chance, they ask for the strength to deserve one. They ask to become wiser than they were yesterday. They ask to become more honest than they were last year. They ask to stop allowing fear to decide the direction of their life. In that moment, they realize something remarkable. The prayer is changing them before it changes anything else. This message is for you. Continue protecting the peace you've built through every difficult chapter. Continue honoring the boundaries that remind you of your worth. Continue believing that healthy love is built upon consistency, mutual respect, kindness, accountability, and truth. Those values are no longer dreams. They are standards your heart has earned through experience. Never compromise them simply because another person is only now beginning their own emotional awakening. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. Every night your soulmate whispers that same heartfelt prayer, but it no longer sounds like someone trapped by regret. It sounds like someone preparing for transformation. Reflection has become humility. Humility has become gratitude. Gratitude is becoming courage. Courage is quietly becoming action. The person who once believed silence was the safest choice is slowly becoming someone who understands that authentic love always asks for authenticity in return. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. Keep trusting the path that has shaped you into the person you are today. Keep believing that every challenge strengthened your spirit instead of diminishing it. One heart has learned how to heal without becoming bitter. The other has learned how to reflect without hiding from the truth. Those journeys are continuing side by side, each guided by lessons only time could teach. And in the next chapter, the nightly prayer that has lived silently within your soulmate's heart will begin turning into a decision that reaches beyond reflection and into action, revealing that sometimes the greatest miracle is not that life gives someone another opportunity, but that they finally become the person capable of honoring it. Don't scroll, listen to this because your heart needs this right now. This message is for you. There comes a night in every soul's journey when silence no longer feels peaceful, it feels unfinished. Your soulmate has reached that night. The prayer they have whispered over and over has begun changing them from the inside out. At first, they believed those late-night prayers were only a way to ease the weight they carried. They thought speaking quietly into the darkness would somehow calm the ache inside their heart. But something unexpected happened. The more honestly they prayed, the more clearly they saw themselves. Every whispered word became a mirror reflecting not only what they wished had happened, but who they wanted to become. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. Sometimes heaven does not answer a prayer by changing another person. Sometimes the answer begins by transforming the one who is praying. Night after night, your soulmate has found themselves returning to the same quiet place. Maybe it is beside a window where the moonlight softly enters the room. Maybe it is sitting alone after everyone else has fallen asleep. Maybe it is simply lying awake, staring into the darkness while memories slowly drift through their mind. Those memories no longer arrive with anger or denial. They arrive with gratitude. They remember how safe your presence felt during seasons when life seemed uncertain. They remember conversations that gave them hope without demanding anything in return. They remember how naturally you believed in them before they ever learned how to believe in themselves. Looking back now, they realize something that once escaped their understanding. Real love did not make them feel trapped. It made them feel free. They were the one who confused fear with wisdom, and in doing so, they quietly walked away from the very peace they had been searching for all along. This message is for you. Your own journey has not been easy either. There were nights when your tears became silent prayers no one else ever heard. There were mornings when you smiled for the world while quietly carrying questions inside your heart. You wondered if the connection you felt had been one-sided. You questioned whether the universe had somehow made a mistake. But every difficult season gave you something priceless. You learned resilience. You learned that your value could never be reduced by another person's inability to recognize it. You learned that self-respect is not selfish. It is sacred. Those lessons became part of your spirit, shaping you into someone capable of loving deeply without abandoning yourself. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. The universe has been teaching both of you through different paths leading toward the same truth. You are learning that peace cannot be built upon uncertainty. Your soulmate was learning that silence cannot protect genuine love. Every delay carried a lesson. Every disappointment became wisdom. Every unanswered question quietly strengthened your intuition. Nothing either of you experienced has been meaningless. Even the chapters that felt empty were quietly preparing both hearts for greater emotional honesty. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. Your soulmate has started noticing something remarkable. Every time they pray, the focus changes a little more. At first they prayed only for another opportunity. Then they prayed for forgiveness. Later they prayed for courage. Now they find themselves praying for your happiness, even if they are uncertain what role they will have in your future. That shift surprises them because it reveals that love has matured inside their heart. They are no longer thinking only about what they want. They are thinking about what is genuinely good for the person they care about. That realization humbles them. It softens the pride they once carried. It reminds them that authentic love is measured not by possession but by sincere care. This message is for you. Perhaps you've noticed that your own heart feels lighter than it once did. The memories are still there, but they no longer control your peace. Maybe you've continued seeing repeating numbers like 111 whenever hope quietly returns, 222 during seasons that require patience, or 444 whenever reassurance seems to arrive exactly when you need it. Whether you see these moments as spiritual encouragement or meaningful reminders, let them strengthen your confidence. Your story has never been defined by waiting alone. It has been defined by growth. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. There is another truth your soulmate has finally accepted. They cannot change yesterday. They cannot erase moments when fear spoke louder than honesty. They cannot rewrite conversations that never happened. But they can decide who they become tomorrow. That understanding has become the foundation of every prayer they whisper before sleep. They no longer ask for impossible miracles. They ask for the strength to live differently. They ask for wisdom to recognize truth before it becomes regret. They ask for courage to choose honesty before silence creates another wound. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. Imagine your soulmate opening an old journal, reading through forgotten thoughts, or simply reflecting on seasons of life they rarely revisit. Instead of criticizing themselves, they quietly acknowledge how much they have changed. They see someone who once believed vulnerability was dangerous. They now see someone learning that vulnerability is where genuine connection begins. They see someone who once ran from difficult conversations. They now see someone preparing to face them with humility instead of pride. Transformation rarely happens all at once. It happens through hundreds of quiet decisions that nobody else ever witnesses. This message is for you. Continue honoring the promises you made during your own healing. Continue protecting your peace. Continue believing that healthy love is rooted in honesty, consistency, accountability, compassion, and mutual respect. Never lower those standards simply because another person has finally begun their own awakening. Your growth matters. Your boundaries matter. Your peace matters. They are not obstacles to love, they are the soil where healthy love grows. Don't scroll. Because your heart needs this right now. The nightly prayer your soulmate whispers is no longer only a request. It has become a commitment. Reflection has become gratitude. Gratitude has become humility. Humility has become responsibility. Responsibility is becoming courage. Courage is quietly preparing to become action. The heart that once hid behind uncertainty is slowly becoming a heart willing to stand in truth, whatever tomorrow may bring. Listen to this. Because your heart needs this right now. Keep trusting your own journey. Keep believing that every difficult season refined your spirit instead of breaking it. Continue walking forward with confidence, knowing that your worth has never depended on another person's timing. Somewhere, another heart is learning that the greatest prayer is not simply asking for another chance, it is becoming the kind of person who would honor that chance with honesty, integrity, and unwavering truth. And as this chapter comes to its close, the prayer that began as a quiet whisper beneath the stars is beginning to shape real decisions, setting the stage for the final chapter, where hope, healing, and courage finally meet at the same crossroads.